We may not be perfect, Tony, but the safest hands are still our own.
We need to be put in check.
I just want to consider all our options. Because people that shoot at you usually wind up shooting at me, too.
You chose the wrong side.
Keep telling yourself that.
After the catastrophic destruction amassed in the Avengers, Winter Soldier, and Age of Ultron, and the mounting toll of civilian casualties, 117 nations unite to ratify the Sokovia Accords, a doctrine that requires the Avengers to submit to oversight by the United Nations. However, the Accords also limit the Avengers from taking action without permission. To act without authorization would result in immediate incarceration and then criminal prosecution. You know those motivational factors stemming from an ideological divide that you expected to have in Batman v Superman? Yeah, you have that here. On the one hand, you have Captain America, who understandably is both skeptical and averse to oversight by a governing body that may or may not be as corrupt as those who he trusted in the past. Never mind the idea that you're criminalizing heroes that risk their lives to defend and protect the public at large if you sign it. Conversely, however, you have Iron Man that believes that oversight and compliance would better thwart collateral damage and property destruction. This is a fun, entertaining ride of a movie. The screenplay is smart, the film is lean, it is interspersed with well-filmed and well-choreographed action sequences, there's fine acting all around, and it's laced with well-timed and well-executed humor to keep the tone light. And as serious as the material gets, it never crosses over the action-packed blockbuster territory. And I also appreciate that there's actual intimate character development that actually serves the plot. You know, as a comic fan, it was cool to see which teams were formed, when and how alliances turned, and which Avenger was matched up against whom in combat. In terms of Daniel Bruhl, okay, this is kind of a spoiler, but it's in a TV spot. Skip ahead to this point if you don't want to hear it. He's not really a villain, more so an antagonist. And let me anchor that to clarify, because Loki was a villain. Ultron was a villain. Those reject elves from Game of Thrones were villains. This guy was just pissed, but with good reason. He's an instigator. That's it. As in, his plan is what initiates the internal conflict, sparks tensions, and leads to the fight. But let's be real, it's like a match rolling towards a lit fuse. It's already lit. It's already sparking. He's just that one thing that's gonna set it off before it otherwise actually naturally would've. And that's why this movie works, because you're not relying upon an external third party, and they've totally outdone themselves with the dialogue here, because it is surprisingly elevated. And I do love the last lines of the characters before the film closes out, like especially Bruhl's last line, because it does raise a lot of questions, and you can see the concern register immediately on Martin Freeman's face, who's good, but barely in it. But let's cover pacing. You know what this movie reminded me of? Shattered Glass. If you haven't seen that movie, you absolutely should check it out. It's, as of now, nothing personal against the actor, but it's the only good Hayden Christensen performance to date. But back to the comparison. The first hour of that film is just fine. There's steady pacing, but nothing is really moving the film. Until the Wire team is introduced, and then the music changes, and the lighting changes, the editing quickens, and everything just pumps up. That's what Civil War reminded me of, where the first hour is fine. You know, we're getting to a point, we're in the tunnel, I see the light, we're getting there, it's fine. But when it cuts to Queens and we're introduced to Spider-Man and Tony's flirting with Aunt May and they do their ridiculous back and forth, that's when everything completely revs up. And the movie is just injected with amphetamines or something, but from that point forward, the film moves. As for Tom Holland, that little shit. He's perfect as both Peter and Spider-Man. He was funny, his awkwardness was entertaining, and him acting like a little puppy trying to impress Tony, that shit was funny. But there is a problem in the third act. There's a part to it that is ill-conceived, and it's contrite. And when we get to that part, it does detract from the film by a skosh or two. But that's alright, because you have the other 9/10 of the movie that's actually really good. You know, and this is the same thing as with Deadpool. This is not an Oscar-caliber film, but there's nothing wrong with that, because this is still a damn good movie. It's well-structured, well-written, well-choreographed, and it's a great political action film. What's cool too is that it extends beyond the scope of just another Marvel movie, but it's actually challenging the quality of films within that genre as well. So I'll be uploading a spoiler review later towards the end of the week when people have actually had a chance to see it here in the US. And in that review, I'll be able to talk more about Paul Rudd, who was my favorite part of the film, followed in a close second by Chadwick Boseman. And remember, please subscribe so that you are notified in your newsfeed when the next video is uploaded. Please remember to give this video a like and share it about. Help support this channel by checking out and using any of the links in the description below. You people are awesome as always, and thanks for watching.